Hi friends, welcome back to Thai GL Breakdown with Tryphena. I am Tryphena, and you're on the Thai GL Breakdown. This week we're talking about the Thai GL final boss, parents. The moment they come on screen, we worry for the girl mental health, we worry for everything because they kind of make and break a storyline. It's either going to the predictable one, for example, parents not approving, or we're going towards a route where, okay, maybe the story can unfold on its own. But of course, before we start, I would like to tell you about my weeks because I know I've been offline for the last 2 weeks when it comes to the podcast. The first week was because I needed a break, right? I was busy, I had to help with family. Again, very tied into the topic of what we're talking about. And then the next week after that, I was completely exhausted from helping my family, so I was really, really tired. And this week, we are not without challenges. This week, my aircon broke down yesterday, and I was trying to implement a new routine for myself that I made with a friend and I'm really proud of. But of course, when you work for yourself, a lot of things pop up and you have to overcome it. So now, I am shooting it completely in the heat because my aircon broke down. And of course, I have my door open. If you're on YouTube videos or if you're watching me on podcast on the Spotify podcast, you will notice that there's a little bit of a light behind me. My door is open and my cats are on the floor. I don't think you can see it. It is to let the air flow, but also I want to maintain the darkness a little bit. So we have a little bit of a window that's a little bit popped up, and I don't want too much sound. So this is the best I can do. In case if you're wondering why my hair is up, usually my hair is down, right? To give it a more relaxed look. But today, girl, I simply cannot. I will simply pass away from the heat. And even yesterday, I slept in my brother's room. My brother's not here. He's in uni. But it was not my bed. I missed my bed. So, it's okay. We are going against all odds. Okay? We are fighting against all odds. And later on, I will be writing on my wall. How much do you want it? A lot. Okay? The answer is a lot. But then I think sometimes we let the circumstances get the best of us. Which is, again, it ties very closely to this podcast episode, okay? Wish me luck. I'm hoping to get my aircon fixed this week. I think that's the update. I think at some point, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of an update of what I'm up to this week, because this will be a weekly podcast. And maybe for those who are interested, you can hear what's been going on. I think usually when I go on live, either it's been done or I'm still going through it. But I think I can give you a structure of what is happening in my life. Maybe that is what will interest you. If you want to catch up with me on the other platforms, I have X, I have TikTok, which is my main, and I have Instagram, which I'm currently building. It's going really well. And the main focus for me would be YouTube, because YouTube is a place where I feel like people can calm down and talk. The other platforms are really fast paced. I think I'm just going into a more slower pace in my life. I hope that reflects on my podcast. But without further ado, let's get into talking about the final bosses of Thai GL, okay? So, it is a hot topic every time the parents come up, especially when they are very controlling, they're very disapproving, because we know where this goes, okay? Sometimes it doesn't even have to be the parents. Sometimes it is the extended family. Because when we look at how Thai GL is, usually when the parents pass away and all that, the extended family steps in to take care of them. I think it's real sweet. I think this is real common in Asia. No, I wouldn't say Asia. I would say just in my culture, Malaysia and Southeast Asia, a lot of people do not abandon family members. They will take their kids in if the parents passed away. I would say this is pretty common. This is pretty understandable. You don't really leave family behind. I think with that in mind, right, it creates a lot of very different dynamics that's very different from people who are more Western in that sense. Parental figures could be literally anybody that takes care of you and who is older than you, right? The elders per se. And the elders usually have quite a high standing socially in our society. And in Southeast Asia, it reflects because they are still one of the main pillars of our society. Even now at 33, to give you a glimpse of what's happening, I like to ask my parents for input about anything that I do. I value the fact that they have been through life enough, they have gone through a lot of lessons, and I'm happy that we won't be learning the same lessons. Some people would think differently. But for me, why would I go through the same thing that my parents have gone through already? Because they can tell you avoid this, avoid that. That's wisdom, in my opinion. And of course, I still live with my family. There's no reason for me to get my own place, right? Because I'm still in my childhood bedroom. I am lucky enough that I still eat dinner with them. This is a common thing in most of Southeast Asia. Again, I wouldn't say Asia because different countries have different statuses and a lot of factors that put in. But for me, from where I am, most people live with their families and there's no shame in that. There's a lot of like gratitude for parents here in Southeast Asia. So when something happens, right, you get full priority. Usually you get the full excuse to go and handle it because the family is the main priority. So if there's a funeral, there's a wedding, there's anything good or bad that happens within the family, other people give you a pass. You don't need to worry about anything. We all understand. Like for example, when I was working in the city and I came home every few months, right? I came back for a week. But then I want to spend most of it with my family because they are my family. But then with my friends, right, they get it. So they all get their allocated one hangout session with me and they all completely get it. And when my friends come back now, when I come home and I'm home, they're not. The same thing. They get one session with me and I'm okay. I was like, go with your family. Your family's most important. Like go with them, especially during festive seasons, right? So this is a common understanding among most Southeast Asian communities that I know of, okay? Again, a lot of things in what I say now is just to allow you to understand how an Asian family functions, how a Southeast Asian family functions, so you're able to understand the stories a little bit better. These are all loose generalization, okay? None of it is accurate to the T. This is just to allow you to understand, okay, people? And as someone that has also businesses locally, my father has opened a lot of, a lot of the doors for me because he has a social standing here. He has the credibility here. And again, why is family name so important? When we look at the Thai GLs, it's very important because it's credibility, trust, and all that. All that fancy jancy things that take time to build, right? So family has a lot of weight in Southeast Asia. From what I understand, Asians are more emotionally involved when it comes to growing up and in the after retirement care of their parents. Like I am very happy to say that if my parents retire, when my parents retire, and when they are sick and all that, I will be the one to take care of them. And this is a given in our society. Those who do not do that, usually, it's not that they'll be wrong, because again, factors come into play, right? But then people will immediately be like, why? Like they will assume that you're working, you didn't have time. But then the best thing so far is to like be able to see them as often as possible. I think we as a society appreciate parents and we understand what they have to go through. There's a lot more vocal appreciation in our society and in our value system because in the Chinese, there's like a book called Sang means filial piety, right? And there are 36 stories telling us about how kids, they respect their parents, they take care of their parents in small ways. And I think that was the value. And a lot of things is basically on that. Like for example, like I will go out to eat with my mom and my dad. That's a little thing because a lot of people realize that, oh, I've grown up now. I don't have to do that. You forget that they're getting old too. So my advice to people who are listening is that if you have a good relationship with your family and you want to maintain it and you don't want to have that as your regret where you're like, oh, I should have spent enough time with them. Go and see them, call them. Don't just call them, video call them. I think that will make a huge difference in your life. At least at the end of their life, right? You know you've done your best within the abilities that you have. And for me, I'm happy to say that everything I've done, I have never wronged my family. And I think when you listen to how I talk about my family, take that and put it into the Thai GLs. So the 3 shows that we are going to be referencing is the all-time favorite and first-time show Gap, right? And another all-time favorite show, Secret of Us, and another all-time show, Poisonous Love. And it is pretty controversial, the ending of Poisonous Love. But we're gonna get into that. Before we move on to the next part, I would like to thank you for being here today, because your support in listening to this and watching all my other videos means a lot as I'm trying to build my platform. If you haven't followed me on other social media platforms, I have TikTok, I have Instagram, I have X, I'm on YouTube and on Spotify podcasts. And I also have PayPal in case you want to donate directly to my cause, which is making Thai gel content. Feel free to leave a comment down below. If there's anything you want to say or if you want me to cover another topic, let me know in the comments. So, all three of them have really, really strong-willed parents. So for Gap, you have the grandmother, who is the matriarch of the family, and everyone else is gone and dead. She's the one in charge, right? And with the father of Poisonous Love, he is the patriarch of the family. The mother is really passive. There's only one kid. I don't know why he's so like strong-willed about it, but then I think he just has an idea of what he wants his kids to turn out. He's just ambitious, right? But I feel like it's a bit too much. Secret of Us has a lot at stake, the family. Lada's family, the one played by Ling Ling Kwang. So the dad has a say, clearly, in Secret of Us, but it's the mother that makes the final decision. So I judge the parents, but that's the story we're presented, okay? So if you don't know what the shows are about, let me give you a brief, okay? All these are Thai shows are what a love story between two women, okay? But the difference is that how the story unfolds. For Gap, it is between a wealthy CEO, very high-powered individual, and her employee Mon. The grandma is behind every single breakup, every single thing that's being orchestrated. Okay? So for Poisonous Love, it is between a very successful doctor with an actress, and the parents are they use the turning point in the story to try to isolate her, to make her believe that the girlfriend is gone. That one was like a lot. Like that show is a lot. Secret of Us is also a lot. Like you will see the pattern in this, okay? Secret of Us is the rekindling of an old relationship, because we start off Secret of Us immediately with the exes meeting, right? I still don't know why Earn didn't tell Lada what happened. But I digress, okay? So it's between an actress again and another doctor. And then the mother of the doctor basically used a need of Earn, which is the actress, to manipulate her into leaving her daughter. And then the daughter was lied to about certain things, and it just doesn't end well for everybody, okay? Everything is because of the mother. But again, if we are not gonna be biased, I feel like I feel like all the parents tunnel visioned, okay? Because it's so unnecessary. The effort is so unnecessary. If you put all the effort to do something else, it could have been happier. But again, I digress, okay? You will find that all three parental figures really value one thing: the family name, okay? Kun Sam's grandma was like, what would people say? Our family name, our family power, our family wealth, right? And then with Secret of Us, the mom was trying to expand the medical empire because they own a hospital, they want someone capable, they want a daughter to have a capable partner. I don't know why they want her to have a capable marriage partner, because it's a business partner, but you know, maybe it's easier to combine both that. It's very traditional, you will realize. And then with Poisonous Love, the dad wants her to maintain a life. In Poisonous Love, the dad is a teacher. Again, family name. He has built his reputation all these years to be one of the like most credible like professors or maybe teachers. I'm not sure which one is it. I think he has a name among his colleagues, and he wants to protect that, right? And all these girlies went to fall in love with girls to kind of destabilize that. So that is the overall plot and the similarities between all three of them. Okay? So this is where the debate comes in. A lot of people do not understand why they cannot just do what they want. They cannot. Again, if you look at what was important to the parental figures, it is always the family name. So what is the family name? The family name is the credibility of the family, okay? Usually, the credibility takes years to build up. Credibility will give you what? Access to a lot of things. Discounts in the business. It will give you open doors to people who are going to help you out. When your family has credibility, usually it has what? Stability. Stability brings in a lot of doors opening, a lot of status opening, and a lot of access to opportunities that other people would not have because you have the stability and you have the credibility. And main thing in Asian communities, money and wealth is one of the most important things as the pillar of society, right? So when that credibility and when that family name gets kind of smudged and like ruined and tarnished, all of the things that come along with that will get taken away. Again, money, stability, credibility, access to opportunities, status. All these things allow you to have a good life. And usually in Asian communities, I'm like losing and sweeping statements, okay? Asian communities want their kids to do well. They are very adamant about passing on wealth to the next generation. How can I prolong my wealth in the next few generations? And you will realize that even in Chinese history, they talk about generations a lot. They talk about passing down the family name a lot. And all these things, it is just the way it is in Asian communities. I can't say too much for the Thais, but it seems like there are similarities between the Chinese and the Thais and a lot of other people of other regions. So just take my word for it for the time being so you have an understanding of the show, okay? So after understanding what the family name means, it's easy to see why in Gap, Secret of Us, and in Poisonous Love that there's a lot of efforts, can I say that? Misplaced efforts, but still efforts nonetheless. Efforts to try to preserve the family name or preserve whatever they think is supposed to be preserved. Because with Gap, I'm pretty sure Kirk will have some form of benefit to whatever the family is doing. And he's very kind. He takes care of Kun Sam. And I think while the grandmother is really like hard, I think ultimately she just wants Kun Sam to be happy. Even though she has a weird way of showing it, okay? With Secret of Us, this is a little bit more extreme, right? The family wants to expand the hospital empire. But at the same time, they want to make sure their daughter is taken care of. So they chose someone that they think is from a good family. It's always from a good family, always well off, and always educated, and everything that you think is supposed to be a good thing to bring home to your parents, right? But of course, it doesn't matter if she loves him or not, right? That was always the case when it comes to old wealthy families trying to pass on their wealth and the royal families and all this. It's always a calculated decision. So, of course, her actions after that are really, really calculated also, even though I just think it's completely unnecessary. So extreme on his stories. But okay, moving on to Poisonous Love. He doesn't have an empire, but he has raised the daughter to be one of the most successful doctors in the industry, cardiologist. It's not easy, and it's a really, really high paid job. And I think he just wants someone equal of her. He just didn't expect the girl, he just didn't expect the daughter to pick a girl. Yeah, I think that's about it. You can also see how they get affected by the news because with Kun Sam, immediate reaction, no, right? Threaten the girlfriend, leave. And then with Secret of Us, again, threatens the girlfriend, leave my daughter's life. You are a distraction. She's just using you. Right? No. And then with Poisonous Love, your girlfriend's dead. You can't see her. She's dead. She's buried. So extreme. Oh my god. But I get it. It wouldn't be a story if it wasn't. But then the lengths they go to, I do believe that this was a shock to their system. It took all of them, except for Secret of Us, but it took all of them to reach a conclusion that they liked the girl. So I guess they also get some time, right? Because I genuinely believe all these things is about baby steps. It's about giving them time to realize what it took you years to realize. It is not fair to spring it on them and then expect them to immediately accept. I am not a parent hater. I have good parents who do their best. I have parents that try their best to give me their best, right? It doesn't matter what I think is best. It is their best. It is their first time living. They gave me what they could, right? So with these parents, I extend the same understanding. All of them are just trying to give the best to the girls, right? It don't matter that you don't think is best. It matters if they think is best or not, because that is what they could give. And when that plan that you spend like 20, 30 years trying to build gets like kind of like ruined, you panic a little bit, because maybe all their life, right? Look at Kun Sam's grandmother, look at the father of Prem, and look at the family of, what's that called? Lada, right? Look at all of them. They're all successful, they are all in big houses, they are all rich, they are all stable. Why? There is a plan, they follow through it, regardless if they liked it or not. Usually, happiness is not part of the equation when it comes to things like this. Especially for people born like before the 1960s, they are not allowed to use happiness as a way to gauge stuff. And again, this is just a sweeping statement, okay? But from what I've seen from a lot of people's lives and all that, marriages are not a marriage of love. It is a marriage of convenience, of stability, of companionship. Love comes after the marriage. And it's not an arranged thing. It's just that there's an understanding that this is time for us to get married. They seem not bad. Let's get married, have kids, and it's a life. They call it a life. But of course, now in modern society, we have so many things that we can do, so many things to explore. There's 8 billion people in the world. If I'm not ready to have kids, I'm not ready to have kids with someone, it's okay. Some other people will have kids. There's 8 billion people anyway. It doesn't need my help to expand, right? That is the mentality now. I can't afford to bring up kids. I'm not gonna bring a kid up in a less than 100% environment. Completely understandable. But back then, we didn't have that kind of choice. They didn't have that kind of choice. Marriage was always a way. It was just the way. It was just the plan. And it's only now that we're seeing a slight change, right? In the elder millennials, things are slowly changing for us. And I think even the older millennials didn't really have a choice. They also had to get married. They also had to like do the thing. And then a lot of them I meet tell me if I could choose to not get married, I wouldn't. So that says a lot about society. But again, going back to Tai Jiao, I digress too much. You will understand that for them, marriage was never about love. And Tai Jiao is about love. They don't understand it. Purely because the generations do not have that kind of understanding, right? They were raised by parents who were raised by war, okay? The boomers were raised by people who went through a lot of war and terrorism and the whole thing, the unstable period, right? So they were taught that stability is the way to go. So they're trying to pass that on to their kids, which is people our age or younger. And it's understandable that they don't understand why would you choose something that's so not stable like love. And you can tell if you watch a lot of Asian shows that a lot of the theme is secretly just fear. Fear of what? Fear of the unknown. Because if you don't go according to the plan, what happens to you? We don't know. What happens if you stray off, you do something new and you can't survive? You don't have a home, you have nothing to eat. What happens after that? We don't know. A lot of the fear of the unknown is what keeps them in that system. It's what keeps them on the plan. Because at least I know what I'm getting myself into. At least I am equipped with whatever that I have to deal with circumstances that I've seen in my friends, in my family. I know how to deal with it, right? But you tell me that I'm gonna date someone else, I cannot really have kids with them, what will I do in my old age? There is no blueprint for whatever's gonna happen after, because simply this concept is new. Marrying for love is relatively new, right? And it's really and even until now, I see friends marrying because it's time, not because of love. So for us as a society to move to, if I don't marry someone I love, if I don't marry someone that chooses me, I will not marry. Girl, unheard of. Very rarely that is heard of. People who do that, usually it's because they're lucky. And it's only now that we realize that if we don't get married and if we don't have a partner, it has nothing to do with the fact that we cannot get one. We understand now fully that it's because that we just didn't meet someone that would give us what we need, and we're not in a rush to do that, right? I'm not gonna lock myself down in case my future soulmate is in the future. You know what I mean? But again, this is not new. This is not the common knowledge back then. Following the understanding that families actually really love you and the families actually really love the girls in the show. There's always this, I thought you wanted a family. I thought you wanted all these. What if they stop loving you? You're giving up us. You're giving up the family. You're giving up the credibility and all these things that we've built for you in the name of love. What if they don't love you anymore? And I think that's a reality check for a lot of people because in, again, the Western society, a lot of people focus on individual needs, right? And then a lot of times you see in the patterns they get burned because maybe they make a decision too young, they make a decision in a bad place and time, and then there's no support system. So when you go against what is culturally accepted, some families will throw you out, some families will disown you. It's like a huge thing, right? Are you very willing to give up your support system in the name of a gamble, which is love? Every single love is a gamble unless, you're so sure. But then in Asian society, family is forever, right? It can be seen as a bad thing for some who don't have good family members, but most of the people in Asia, if you look at all the stories in Korean media, Chinese media, and all that, a lot of things is focused on going back to family. So if you choose someone else that's not family, can you promise yourself that that is going to be your support system and they will never leave? I think also parents will make sense even though you don't like it, okay? Because they've lived through it. What makes you think your parents have never dated before? They've never gotten their heart broken before. It's impossible. They know. And I think that's why with marriage, there's the stability of like, this person will stand by me. Okay, I know divorce rate can be high, but again, sweeping statements, okay? If you look at another way, some people are really adamant about protecting their family name. That they completely allow the child to run amok and they are not going to be responsible for their actions. If you watch Heart Cold, the son, the one that loses his temper and accidentally kills someone, he is given a pass for everything he's ever done in his life because the dad wants to make sure that his name is clean. And in turn, he teaches the son that he doesn't need to be, responsible for anything. And that's another extreme, okay? That's too bad. Like, never do that. That one is worse, I feel. And it's very difficult to be a parent. I have to say, like, this episode could just be to empathize with parents who are doing their best because it is simply not easy. And again, I would like to emphasize on one thing, right? It took you years to come to terms with whatever you want to come to terms with, right? A lot of people, if you look at Disney Channel shows even, like look at the High School Musical, he's played basketball his whole life. And then suddenly he wants to sing. That made the dad mad too. Because the concept of this is that they've built who you are in their heads. The idea of you is built, right? And then they spend all their lives in putting in effort and all that into this idea of you, this narrative of you. And now you're like, I want to sing. I want to date a girl. It will take them a bit of time to break it down and rebuild it. That's all it is. I think we forget, again, people are people and it just takes time. You can't expect your parents to come to terms with it. You can expect them to come to terms with it with time also. I think at some point we have to accept that they will never accept it. And it is not your fault. It is not anything. It is just the way it is. Personally, like, I'm not saying that we cannot. I'm just saying that I wouldn't put it past them to accept things that they don't need to accept. That is their values. For example, in my life, I don't think it's ever okay to be able to own guns because in Malaysia we cannot. And that will be something that sticks with me till I die. It's okay if people want guns. It's okay if some countries think it's necessary to hold them. It has nothing to do with me, right? When you have that kind of mentality with your life, it is so much easier to just move on from things that just are not the same with you. I wouldn't say disagree. I just say it's not the same, right? Disagree means that I will like fight you for it. I don't think it's necessary. It's just that if you want it, you can. I don't want it, so I'm just gonna go here. That's it. There's no fight about this. And I think if your parents are not making it difficult, they just stand by their views, there's nothing wrong with it. They might eventually come to terms. If they don't, it's not gonna affect you. I think it's a very freeing idea that you don't need anybody's approval, not even your family's one. and then you can have a much better quality of life. You can find that you wake up easier, the sky is brighter, the birds are louder. It's like a good thing, right? I think for me also, when I was trying to do content creation, I was a bit concerned what my brother would think because we went into business together. But then I realized that this makes me happy. It is a challenge, definitely, but it is not a bad challenge that I want to shy away from. So he can think what he wants. I'm gonna try this out. It's the same way. It is so freeing, and it's made me pursue this a lot more, right? A lot of things that we can learn in Thai GL, it can be applied somewhere, like in a lot of aspects of our life. So I hope that this episode can give you some perspectives on how life can be a lot better, even though you don't get the approval of your parents. But a lot of people would disagree and say, yeah, but why would the children obey? Number one, because of the main value system that most of us had, which is filial piety. Filial piety allows us to fully empathize with our parents, to respect them, to obey them, even though sometimes we don't agree with it. But again, it is just a value system we have. It's a value system that is ingrained in most Asian countries, in most Asian societies. I think you can see it in our media, you can see it in our stories, you can see it in the movies that all these countries would have. And I think generally it is actually ingrained in a lot of societies' value system. It's just that how far do you take it? Some people would choose themselves over choosing their parents. But again, for me, I would choose my parents a lot of times. I would choose them in the grand scale of things compared to maybe an American would, because the society is just built different. It is not, there's no right and wrong in this. It's just in Asia, we understand families a little bit more and we are willing to sacrifice or give up things in the name of family. But also, let's not forget, all these girls in the shows are well taken care of, right? I know you're like, yeah, but it's conditional. They have to do this to get the love. When you don't really have a plan of your own, having a plan given to you is such a great thing to have, right? I think this is where Asian parents are now learning to balance, right? Having a plan for them and being okay when they change it. Because you have to trust that you've taught them enough to know what to do. And I think this is just a new lesson to learn. I think this is like for Gen Zs and even like millennials, when we now have a lot of opportunities that maybe a lot of them don't have back then. So now a lot of parents are okay because they know they taught you well and you're gonna be okay. The fear of the unknown is slowly fading away a little bit, especially in modern cities. I wouldn't say it's the same for like rural like towns in my area, but I would say most are open to it because they understand the kids have access to a lot of information, the internet. It's a changing thing, but then, I digress again. I'm just really passionate about parents and understanding them because I am one of those that love my parents a lot. That is a common thing in my friends, that's a common thing in my society. So this is why I stand by. If you have to pick the family. If it's reasonable, okay? If it's reasonable, we obey because we know our parents, they're right. One thing I've learned about growing up in my 30s, I'm turning 33 in a month, and I've learned that my mom is 90% correct. Okay, she's not right when it comes to, do I click this to go into this website? The answer is no. She's right about drinking water. She's right about not eating certain foods after a period of time. She's right about not drinking cold stuff after or during a period. Like, she's right about a lot of things because it is from experience. When I was 16, I don't think I would have listened. I don't think I would have listened when I was 12. But from my 20s onwards, right, when I was on my own, I call back home a lot. How do I do this? How do I do that? You realize your mother, especially for women with a good relationship with your mother, you will realize they know so much. Your dad will have different knowledge. My dad is really good with politics. He's really good with like things to do, right? It doesn't matter if he does it or not, but he's really good at the concept of things. So when I need those concepts, I will call them up for it. Like I live with them now, right? So I will just like ask them about it. But then again, when we're younger, would we do it? No. The answer is no. I think the main thing is that when we can empathize that our parents are doing our best, it is easier to understand why these characters go back to their parents, why they don't choose love first. They've made it really clear. And I think the fact that the partner understands shows the value of families in the society. The fact that the girlfriends are always understanding, saying that it's okay, choose them first, right? Go to them first. Especially, you can see this in The Secret of Us, where Ernest like, no, go choose them, choose your mom first, like she's sick. And even when she goes to, I think she was called to meet the mother of Lada, and she said, please, I've left her alone, I've done everything you want, please don't tell me to stop loving her. They know where their power is. They know how far it can go. They know they can't stop them from choosing the parents, right? That alone should show you where the value system lies. Again, I have to emphasize there's no right and wrong in this kind of situation. It's just that do you have the same value system? And the fact that the girlfriends and the girls in the shows are always really understanding and saying the things that you don't agree with, it just shows that the value system is different. Again, they obey because they love their family. They obey because the family is the support system and has provided them with everything they could ever want in life. We know that sometimes it is not what they want. We get it. But at the same time also, there's an understanding that this is the parents making sure that you're taken care of in the future, right? They would rather the kids just do something they can predict so that, you don't have to worry in the future and I don't have to worry about you. You will see that the parents will still worry about the kids when they are on their deathbeds, when they are sick. They will ask you, did you eat? Can I get you something to eat? And you're like, chill, man. Like, you're sick. Lie down, right? Mothers, fathers will be mothers and fathers till the day they die. Okay, they will always be parents. And again, the one thing that is the ultimate instability is love enough, right? Ask yourself that. In all the relationships that you've been in, when it first started out, did you think forever was possible? Of course. But then as time goes by, as the flaws come out, is it possible now forever? The answer is no. So in this context, right, would you give up your entire support system, your entire life, for this one person that just popped into your life and made you feel like you can fly for a little bit? Maybe not the best, right? Maybe not the best decision you will ever make in your life. That's why it is so easy to be able to understand the girls, right? But if you're not open to it and you're still insistent that, you know what, I can still choose my own life, then maybe you're missing the point of this podcast. It is mutual understanding that puts us in this position today, especially when it comes to why the girls obey. I think if you can understand where the girls are coming from and put in empathy for the parents to see all that they've sacrificed, it's easier to see from that point of view, because I genuinely do not think it was easy to build to where they were, especially the ones that built from nothing. It takes a lot of dedication, a lot of sacrifice, and I would be mad too if one day my very smart kid that I spend so much money on tells me I want to be a pottery maker. I would be mad too. And I'm like, I built all this empire. You could have told me 40 years ago. You could have told me when you were growing up so I don't have to work so hard to build this to pass to you. Like, it is only understandable that they're just trying to give you stability. Okay? If your parents are not good parents, then I would just ask that you try to look at this with a much bigger heart, right? Because if you can't see parents as people, it's very hard to understand why the girls did what they did and why the stories are written like that. But of course, we are moving towards stories where the parents are not really a problem, which I'm really grateful for. I'm so sick of always coming out. I'm so sick of that storyline. It's so predictable. I want something new at this point. But again, I digress. Right now, all the endings of the Taijia shows that I've mentioned, Gap, Secret of Us, and Poisonous Love, is the best case scenario where they have a happy ending. In real life, it's very possible that Kun-san would have just married off and have a few kids and call that a life. She will not be able to chase her dreams of having a company even, because the grandmother, as you can see, is pretty like, strong-willed. And in Secret of Us, I feel like Lara is strong-willed enough to stand on her own 2 feet, but I don't think she'll ever get married, you know? And realistically, with Poisonous Love, I don't know how the parents are gonna keep that secret from her. It does not seem very possible, given that it's you could just Google or Facebook or Instagram and you will find that Pat's alive. I don't quite know how the parents are gonna keep it. That was not a very realistic ending. But realistically, if that didn't happen and then they just broke up as like a normal couple, right? I feel like Prem would just go with what the parents want, you know? That's the reality of what these shows could end with. But, you know, we got the best case scenario so that we could all be happy and live vicariously through these girls. That's why TGL can be quite complex if we want to make it complex. And I think as someone that is part of this society where there's a lot of values, a lot of unspoken expectations, it is so fun to explain this to people, and it's so great to debate or even to relate to these girls, especially with people who also have the same background, because we can talk about if we understand our parents or not. I think it's a collective thing that we are going to be understanding of our parents, and it is something that comes with age, I would say. I think I'm just in that phase where I really want to just sit and reflect, because it was definitely not easy raising me, because I was a smart kid, but I was not an obedient kid. I wanted things my way. I was stubborn. But then growing up now, like at this age, I'm proud of who I've become. I'm proud that I'm no longer hot-tempered. I'm proud that I am still stubborn in what I believe in. But I'm not closed off to changing my opinions. A lot of things I don't think are sacrifices in my life could be a sacrifice from other people's point of view. So ultimately, I think if we could all see from a certain point of view, we'll be able to understand each other. We don't have to agree. We just need to be understanding. I think this is the podcast in general, to understand why the parents are a certain way and to understand why the kids are a certain way. I think in life you have to balance out what you can live with and what you can live without. And also you have to really be sure of what you're able to accept. Because for example, right, if you were someone that is very willing to give up your support system in the name of a girl or a guy, then make sure if all things fall apart with this one, you have a way to stand back on your 2 feet. Because I know a lot of people that go through like really big breakups of their life alone because they made the wrong decision at the time and they are too proud to go back. Don't be proud in this life. There's no thing as pride. Pride takes away so much. It steals away so much of precious time. It steals away so much relationships that you could have had. I think ultimately in the future, we're going to talk about families who are accepting, and we can learn from those people so that we can also be parents like that if we choose to become parents. So thank you for joining me today on this podcast. I know it's a little bit all over the place, but this is a really complicated topic to discuss, because there's a lot of things that are not just about right and wrong. It is just about what value system do you have and do you want to maintain that. Because I think there's no right and wrong way to deal with things. There's an extreme way to deal with things, aka lie to your daughter that their girlfriend died so that they won't find them. Or just go a big roundabout and tell your daughter's girlfriend that, you know what, she's playing with you. That, you know, it's a whole thing. But parents are still trying their best. They're just trying their best, and it's very difficult sometimes. And I think we all will agree that sometimes they don't know what they're doing. A lot of parents on TikTok now are also saying that I'm raising a toddler, someone gave me a toddler, and I don't know what I'm doing. I think that would help heal a lot of wounds that the kids would have, especially when they know they've been rebelling, and then why the parents choosing to do a certain thing a certain way. And then when they have kids and they grow up, they understand. Because my parents also say, when you have kids, you will understand. I'm glad that it didn't take me having kids to understand, because that shows that I've grown, and I'm proud of that. So in case, if you haven't followed me on any of the social media platforms, I have X, I have TikTok, and I have Instagram, YouTube, and I'm also on Spotify podcasts. I also have Patreon for those who are interested in watching my reviews and my full reactions on episodes. It's gonna be linked all down below. Feel free to support me from there. It allows me to make more content and it allows me some more stability because stability is so important. Okay. I will see you in TikTok lives and I will see you in the next podcast episode. Bye!